that will really severely get in the way of, of having the results that you can have, right? Even if you're doing all this stuff, you're doing all the, I'm going to eat cleaner. Man, maybe it was that little bit of sugar that I had. Maybe it's that cookie I had yesterday is why I don't feel good today. It's just a cookie, right? I've been trying to sleep more and this and this and this, and man, but I don't know like what the problem is, etc. Right? Yes, of course. Remember, your system functions in a certain way for a reason. Your body never does anything without a reason. There's a reason you're exhausted. There's a reason why you're struggling. Hey there, welcome to the Female Health Solution podcast, where we discuss women's health, hormones, and everything else in between. Join me as we dive into the tools that you need to live your healthiest life. How can you still be exhausted if you get a full night of sleep? 8 hours, very rested, and you wake up still feeling bone tired, right? How many of you have had this happen before, right? I am Dr. Beth Westy, women's health and hormone expert. Welcome back to the Female Health Solution podcast. We're going to talk about why just eating as clean as you can, doing all the right things, and then getting all the sleep you can doesn't mean you're just going to regain your energy overall. Now, there can be several reasons why you are not having the energy that you feel like you should with all of the effort that you've put in and everything else that is, again, I'm using air quotes here, going right in your life. And you're thinking, there is no reason I should be this exhausted. I eat really well. I make sure I get all my, nutrients in. I do a whole food diet. I eat a lot of salads, blah, blah, blah. I don't eat too much sugar. I don't have too much coffee, etc. Right? And then you're thinking, I've been working on my sleep. I know I've been more stressed. It's been harder to get to sleep. I'm trying not to wake up in the middle of the night, or I'm taking a special sleep supplement or something with melatonin. And you're thinking, I wake up exhausted and I still get tired throughout the day. I still don't have the energy or the brain power to exist like I know I should, right? We're going to talk about some specific things. So, one of the most common things that I see on a Dutch report, which is a urine test for hormones. So, Dutch stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones. This is a test that gets sent to your house. You take it at home, send it into the lab. We go over the results when they come in, talk about what we're seeing, and specific recommendations for you that really help you move out of this space, the stuck place that you're in. So when we look at this and say, oh my gosh, your cortisol levels are tanked, and you're thinking, okay, but I'm sleeping so much and I'm still so tired. Right. If your cortisol levels are below a functional range for you, I don't care how much you're sleeping, you're not really restoring your system, right? And one of the things that I love utilizing for this is adaptogens, right? I'm going to talk about some solutions kind of sprinkled in here as we talk about some of the issues that I see really, really frequently on a Dutch test. I love adaptogens. Now, a lot of people just think about their cortisol levels being high and elevated and that, oh, I got to bring them down. My cortisol's too high. I got to bring it down, right? And adaptogens do that. Yes. But adaptogens are herbs, unlike any other herb out there or supplement out there, in that they actually will help bring low levels up. Yeah. So this is where I feel so confident in telling people if they're like, oh, but what do I do if my cortisol is high? Take an adaptogen. But what about if it's low? Still take adaptogens because it helps regulate your cortisols. Isn't that amazing? I love it. Now that means that it can help improve your cortisol levels if they are too low. And a lot of times just trying to get more sleep is not going to really shift and change your circadian rhythms. One of the things that we see on your Dutch test is what your cortisol levels are doing throughout the day. Are they starting off at a good level? Are you having a good cortisol awakening response? Is your level coming up and then coming down appropriately throughout the day? I just looked at someone's cortisol pattern today, And her cortisol level starts off okay and then drops drastically and then elevates a ton in the afternoon and then tries to regulate by the end of the day. And of course, one of her big complaints was fatigue. I'm so exhausted all the time. And then another one, she's like, I feel like I have this insomnia. I'm not sleeping well, even though I try to get a lot of sleep. I was like, literally, this is what we're talking about right now. It's not about trying to get more sleep if your circadian rhythms are totally messed up. So, not only do I recommend adaptogens, there's also other specifics that we talk about with helping elevate your cortisols in the morning like they should be. Sometimes it's through an activity. Like I tell people jumping jacks. Jumping jacks. I just had this with someone too. And I talked about this, I think, recently, where there was a gal, she couldn't get out of bed, couldn't get out of bed. And like, I was like, okay, when you get up to go to the bathroom in the morning, I was like, do 25 jumping jacks. They don't have to be great jumping jacks. Just do jumping jacks. Get that blood moving, get that blood flowing, everything else. And she said that has made all the difference in the world for her. Isn't that amazing? There's also other light therapies that we talk about. Sometimes we talk about using in the natural sunlight, using a sun lamp, using a red light, those types of things to help really reset your circadian rhythms, especially if you travel for work or you have some shifts that are night shifts or later shifts or earlier shifts or something like that. I work with a lot of gals that are nurses and they're like, yeah, the timing of my work schedule is just off certain days or certain weeks. How do I get regulated again, etc.? One of the biggest things that your cortisol responds to is light and light therapy. So we utilize that stuff, right? Now, again, for whatever your specific recommendation would be, would depend on what we're seeing with your cortisol levels. Because this is, again, I see people making all these changes, all this effort to do something. And I'm like, yeah, your level's fine there. That's not, that's not going to be helpful. I had this a couple of weeks ago with someone where she was working so hard on her morning cortisol levels. And I was like, oh, okay. But from what I see, your levels are actually pretty good. So I wouldn't focus on that. I was like, it's your afternoon levels that are really in trouble. So I was like, we just work on different things for you to make sure that we're targeting the right thing. And that you're actually then getting a result, of course. Right? That's one of the biggest things overall. There's also other things when we look at fatigue in general. We want to make sure that you are not nutrient deficient. We see that on a Dutch test as well. There's certain B vitamins, biotin levels, things like that, that can really influence your overall energy that you have throughout the day. In fact, B vitamins are so important that if you look at the ingredient label or the nutrition facts on a energy drink, B vitamins, B12, all that stuff. And there's so many women who think, I eat so healthy, I eat so clean. I've got to be getting all the vitamins in. Remember, first off, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. And there's so much more to that than just eating healthy to get all the nutrients. Maybe you're not a good methylator. Maybe that's a big thing standing in the way of you being able to get the nutrients from the food that you're eating. You're not methylating properly. Okay, right? And that's a genetic thing that, some people have, right? So through no fault of your own, just the cards you were dealt. But then we play that hand differently, right? So keep some of those things in mind. The last thing that I'm going to mention that I see a ton on a Dutch report that really influences your energy levels, even if you're sleeping great, even if you're eating really clean, even if you're trying to do all these things, is inflammation. Inflammation is exhausting to deal with. It gets in the way of all these like cellular processes that need to happen, pathway clearing that needs to happen, just overall energy production and maintenance. Inflammation gets in the way, right? I mean, I think of I think of inflammation is because I talk about things being like a car, being like a vehicle, right? And if you're old enough, sorry, I'm laughing because I think of that Nickelodeon show. What was it? Like Double Dare or something? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they would have all these kids do all these wacky like stunts and different things, like running through stuff, and they'd get slimed, right? Like the big bucket of green slime that would dump on them. To me, that's what inflammation is. You're trying to complete this obstacle course, and all of a sudden, you've got these goggles on and a helmet, and you're trying to race through this, foam pit obstacle course or whatever. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get slimed with stuff. And now everything is slippery. You can't see, you can't get anywhere. That's inflammation, right? A car, same thing. You're sliming a car. You work on your car. You're like, okay, I'm going to fix up this car. This car is going to take me everywhere I need to go. I'm going to put new windshield wiper fluid in. I'm going to change the oil. I'm going to make sure there's air in the tires, right? I don't know that much about cars, but then all of a sudden somebody opens the hood and you realize that somebody has dumped green slime all over the engine. That's the inflammation. That's the inflammation everywhere. That will really severely get in the way of having the results that you can have, right? Even if you're doing all this stuff, you're doing all the, I'm going to eat cleaner. Man, maybe it was that little bit of sugar that I had. Maybe it's that cookie I had yesterday is why I don't feel good today. It's just a cookie, right? I've been trying to sleep more and this and this and this, and man, but I don't know like what the problem is, etc. Right? Yes, of course. Remember, your system functions in a certain way for a reason. Your body never does anything without a reason. There's a reason you're exhausted. There's a reason why you're struggling. And how we get to the bottom of it is we test for it and then target those things with specific recommendations for you. This is what we do in the Female Hormone Solution Program. This is what our program is all about. It is a deep dive for you with specific customized recommendations every step of the way. And it's not helpful to just guess and say, oh, well, you've said that you've been really stressed and you're exhausted. So your cortisol is probably really high. Let's do all the things for high cortisol. And then we test and look, and it's actually really low. We want to make sure that we're giving you the right recommendations at the right time to turn this around as quickly as possible. Like I have literally had gals, like we go over their test results and within a week, they start noticing huge improvements. A month later, they're like, holy crap, I feel so much better that I'm now realizing how terrible things were for me because of how good I feel now. And I know I'm still not at 100%, right? This step-by-step process is what really takes you there to make sure that we're not missing anything, that you're getting all the guidance that you need, and that you're getting the right outcomes, and that you have all the knowledge and information to keep going from there, right? That you're not having to take supplements all the time. You're not having to do all crazy, weird stuff where you're like, this is the lifestyle I want, right? But there's specific things that are going to make the difference for you. So that's what I got for you guys today. Please let me know if you have questions. Make sure you are on the wait list. Make sure you are on the wait list. Go in the show notes here. Get on that wait list because this is the last time that we're actually launching this program. This program, it is an amazing, amazing way to connect and guide women through this process. And this is something that we are going to be shifting gears. So if you're like, yeah, I've been thinking about this, or I've heard you talk about the 12-week before, this is the last time we're doing it. So make sure that you are on the list, that you get notified, and that you don't miss out on this. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I so appreciate you guys, and I will see you later. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. If you would like more information, just head on over to drbethwesty.com for all the show notes and information from today's episode. And if you're looking for more community, more support, you can find and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and I would love to see you there.